land was made for you and me. As I went walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway, and I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled, and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond desert, and all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. When the sun comes shining, then I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling. The voice was chanting as the fog was lifting. This land was made for you and me. And please feel free to sing the last verse with me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me.
Good job.
We went on a little bike ride yesterday, and people think I got sun. That's just reflecting off my face is all it is. But yeah, we got to see some sun, got to see a beautiful day, you know, and one of the freedoms to be able to come and go in this country pretty much anywhere you want to go, you know, without being questioned. And it was a great day. And today I'm going to sing God Bless America, or God Bless the USA. At the end, I will motion. I'd like for everybody to stand. It talks about us standing up. And the last chorus, and I'll give you all the cue, when everybody stand and sing the last chorus with me. If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I'd thank my God above to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. You got me here? We're going to continue on with our service in regards to a special presentation as well. So I need all of you to come forward, and I would like for all the veterans, men and women, to please come up and join behind me here on the stage. Today this service is, of course, to honor God, and that's what we do in our singing and our praising and opening the Word and being around His table. But it's also a time in our country where we want to remember our freedom and to remember that there's been a price that has been paid. So we think about it most often at the 4th of July. So as this is our 4th of July service, we're going to have a special presentation here in a minute. But I want all the veterans behind me. We're going to just kind of walk through this, and then we'll share with you everything going on. But of all these veterans, there are 2 World War II veterans. And we're very honored to have both of them in our presence as well. And Howard, while I greatly appreciate your service, I'm going to recognize Noah today, okay? So Noah got something a little special for you here in just a second, so we'll get you a seat there. But I'm going to start by having Don read something for us.
As you know, this day has been set aside apart, especially this part of the service, to pay homage to Noah. And I'd just like to share a few comments about Noah. Noah was born in 1926, and just 9 days after his 17th birthday, Noah enlisted in U.S. Navy as what was then referred to as a pharmacist's mate, but better known today as a hospital corpsman or medic. During his 4 years of active duty, Noah served overseas in the Battle of Iwo Jima, Japan, in 1945 in a grueling battle that lasted 36 days. And he told me about this one time, didn't you, Noah? About that battle. The battle did not stop, no matter the time of day or night. I was a Navy hospital corpsman treating wounded Marines on Iwo Jima and turning over dead ones and putting tags on them, said Schweitzer. In a total of 36 days, 6,200 men were buried on Iwo Jima. After 4 days, the American flag was raised, and that's when photographer Joe Rosenthal took the famous picture raising the flag in Iwo Jima. Nowadays, Noah is the last hospital corpsman from Company I, 3rd Battalion, 38th Regiment, 5th Marine Division. He's the only one that's left out of all those. The Battle of Iwo Jima took place February 19th to March 26th of 1945. Was a major battle in which United States Marines landed on and eventually captured the island of Iwo Jima from the Japanese Army. The 5-week battle comprised some of the fiercest and bloodiest fighting in the Pacific War of World War II. Just to give you an idea of how furious it was, the Allies had almost 7,000 people killed and almost 20,000 wounded. So you can see how fierce that battle was, and went on for 5 weeks. The Japanese positions on the island were heavily fortified with a dense network of bunkers, hidden artillery positions, and 11 miles of underground tunnels. The American ground forces were supported by extensive naval artillery and had complete air supremacy provided by U.S. Navy and Marine Corps aviators throughout the entire battle. So as Joe said before, it's because of men like Noah that we're able to gather here this morning and worship the way we do in whatever like manner we want. So thank you, Noah. Thank you.
Noah, God bless you.
Yes, many ways. Was here, my youngest son.
Noah, we've also had the opportunity to secure a flag that flew over the Capitol on February 25th of 2017. February 19th through March 26th of 1945 is when Noah was on Iwo Jima. This flew over our capital 72 years later. I've asked two to fold this. Now let me make this clear. We do not fold this in a triangle. A triangle is only after death. We're hoping you're going to be around for a while, okay? But we're going to fold this flag and it will be presented to him. But this flew over the Capitol of the United States and we want you to have it.
congregation.
Well, we can't thank you enough. You are a member of the greatest generation you and this young man right here that this country has ever seen. And we salute you, Noah.
God bless you, buddy.
Give me this. You have to pass it on to someone. Right here, the guy give it.
All right, well, that'd be a different flag. This one is yours. Right in here.
Okay.
This one is yours to keep, to honor, to appreciate, and when that day comes, they'll present your son with a different flag, but this one is presented to you in memorial of all that service.
Thank you.
This is a certificate of being fit, and just to prove that I just didn't get it down here, okay? That proves that it flew over the Capitol.
Oh.
All right? So,
Thanks again.
yeah, step up here, you're done. All right, there we go. Now we're going to help you get down off the steps.
Okay.
Thank you all very much for coming forward. God bless you all for your service.
But our French horn player's gone missing, so.
Well, it's been a very special day. I want to thank Noah's family for being here with him as well. God bless you guys. Thank you so very much. And give Rick a call. And Noah told me, he said, I think my family's coming. So you had no idea, did you, what was going on? No, I didn't think so. I'm glad. So it is our privilege to be able to recognize you. We live in the greatest land in the world, and we all know that. I think we all do. It's a wonderful place. I'm sure if we ran a survey today and talked about loving America, we'd all say, God bless America, because it is so special to us. I'm really proud to be an American, and I always want that to be before people, that I am really proud of who we are as Americans. I'm proud of this great land. I've had the privilege of visiting almost all of it, seeing a great deal of it, and it's a wonderful thing. I can recall going on the battlefield of Gettysburg, and it was almost like being on holy ground. There's just something that grabs you. If you've ever been there, it just grabs you. And then whenever we went to the Little Bighorn, it was almost the same way. As you drive down this 11-mile stretch, and they've got stones where the soldiers had fallen. And I realized that was very controversial with the American Indian at the time. But it's still one of those places where you realize there's something special about this great land of ours. Something very special. Seeing Mount Rushmore, and what a joy that was. I'm really proud of this place. I'm proud to say that I was born and raised in the good old USA. And I'm whether that's right or wrong, I'm on tape. I like it. And I wouldn't want to be from anywhere else. People talk about their heritages. Supposedly the Sweeneys come from Ireland. You ask any Sweeney I know, we come from Southern Illinois, because that's where we started, and I'm very proud of that as well. But like most Americans, I'm kind of put out with the way America is being treated today. And I think there would be a whole lot of amens and yes to that, I know. I'm put out with that. I hate, and I'll be honest, I hate seeing the disrespect that our country often has to go through. The disrespect for our flag. I'm honored by our flag. We fly one at our house throughout. The disrespect for our Constitution, and even from some of the own politicians. The disrespect for our Constitution that preserves our freedom. The disrespect for the presidency. I don't care which party's in charge. He's president, whoever party it is. And we need to recognize that. I'm put out with the disrespect that we see worldwide. Do you realize how hungry the world would be without this great nation? It'd be a starving world, but this great nation, we make a difference. See, America is a special place. And I don't mind telling you that. I don't mind people coming here at all. I do mind them trying to make us what they ran away from. And I'm sure many of you would agree with that as well. People for generations have come here for freedom and for opportunity. Well, today we look at the respect of America, and they're coming here for all sorts of reasons. We may not like everything that goes on in this country, but we are people who can do something about it. We may have to rise up and vote, or we may have to take action and step up and say, here, count on me, whatever it is. But we need to quit taking the respect of this great country for granted. And we need to be respected. So I've thought about this for a while, preparing for today. What brought our forefathers here? Well, throughout the history of the world, there are records of one people oppressing another. We can go back to Exodus chapter 3, verses 7 and 8, and that's where you'd find the first account of it. The Lord said, I am indeed seeing the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard their crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from a land of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land into a good and spacious land. Oppression dates back to the beginning of the Bible. We know that, and our God is aware of that. Oppression comes in various forms. The forms of oppression that I immediately think of is slavery. And slavery, our country went through a terrible time of slavery, but slavery is still a prominent thing today, as we hear about women and children being sold into sex slavery, and throughout the world, things in this order. Oppression comes in forms of overtaxation, social classes, even race. Usually religious oppression is soon included with those, or it soon follows with the other oppressions. For many, a religious oppression, and that's in your outline, is what brought our forefathers to this country. We know the Pilgrims and others come here looking for the opportunity to worship and not be told that you got to worship in a state church, but to be able to worship. And in this brand new land that they come to, do you know it wasn't very long before religious oppression would soon start then in this country as well. There'd be those wanting to tell others what they had to do and how they had to worship. But because of our forefathers and the vision that they had of this great land, foreseeing problems that every generation would have to deal with, they drafted up the Constitution. Now the Constitution, there's great debate over that, but you read it and there's a whole lot of it sounds scriptural to me, and I'm sure it does to you as well. Anyone who is not opposed to religion can see that our scriptures had a great influence upon the Constitution of this great land. And whenever they did draw it up, what happened? And God blessed this land. Because of that great Constitution where they were guaranteeing freedoms, God blessed this great land. We even had to fight our own war, unfortunately, to be victorious over oppression. And God blessed the Union. Thank God for Abraham Lincoln and the men and women who led the country during that time. I know some would say, well, you're a great Lincoln fan. You betcha. Lincoln preserved this great Union of ours. Without him, this Union could have easily failed during that time. But Lincoln was the man for the hour because they had a tool, a Constitution to guide us and to prevail this troubling land. So we've had our issues and our problems, and there's always been that oppression. But because we are this great land that God has brought our forefathers to, it has a way of self-correcting if we don't lose sight of God. It'll take care of the issues. So we dealt with in-house issues with the Civil War and other things that had to be dealt with. But then outside sources noticed as well the great blessings that was here. And then they wanted to oppress us, the outside sources, and take over. And that's when they were introduced to the spirit of the American people. The American people, we've become very accustomed to our freedom. We have more freedom than any other place in the world. And we've become very accustomed to that. Now you might say, well, Europe has changed and there's all sorts of freedoms there. You're right, there's all sorts of freedoms there, but not the freedoms that we have. We are the most blessed nation in the world. So those outside sources soon found out that we have the spirit of Americans and we love our freedom and we love the opportunity to give our God credit for it. So what did our forefathers find whenever they come to this great land? Well, back to Exodus chapter 3 and verse 8, it would say this, a land flowing with milk and honey. You ever wonder what our forefathers found when they come to this great place that we called America? A land flowing with milk and honey. If it hadn't been for the provisions of the American Indian, the Pilgrims would have never made it through some of the first winters. But they did. Why? Because this land blessed them. Because this land was blessed of God. And it was our blessing then to start sharing it worldwide. In the 37th Psalm, you know I'm in love with the Psalms. In Psalms 37, here's what it's going to say, verses 1 through 7. Do not fret because of evil men, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass, they will soon wither, and like green plants, they will soon die away. Trust in the Lord, do good, dwell in the land and enjoy the pasture. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your ways to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this. He will make your righteousness, this is the key verse, your righteousness shine like the dawn, the justice of your cause like the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently. Do not fret when men succeed in their ways, when they carry away their wicked schemes. He said, don't fret about that. This way maybe you can hear the rest of it. God has shown this great land blessings. Now, why is that? You know, it's not just because he was in love with America. He loved Israel, and he blessed it. But did you ever notice how the blessings were coming to Israel? It was whenever they were in tune with God. And whenever they were out of tune with God, there was bondage and suffering. It was a land, whenever Israel was in touch with God, that could provide for other lands. Whenever we are in touch with God, we are the greatest storehouse in the world. And God blesses our land. The desire of this people, one nation under God, it brought more blessings than anyone ever thought possible. It brought blessings that people would only dream of. We were able to provide food and assistance and security and support because God blessed the world through us, the United States of America. And he blessed the world with food and assistance and security and support. And God used us. Now, in using us, it was for a purpose. And God has helped us to preserve our freedom all of these years for a purpose. Do you realize, as I mentioned earlier, the starving nations that are out there? You see at evenings with commercials of people asking for help for children with swollen stomachs. It is our country that rises to that. So what must we do to continue to preserve these freedoms? Well, just like Noah and Howard in the generation they were in, they had to stand up and say, no, not on our watch. The generation before them would have been my grandfather and many of your grandfathers. That had been World War I. And they had to stand up and say, not on my watch. And they took that stand. And since then, we've been taking stands. It's not called world wars anymore, but there's been plenty of wars. And we stepped up and we took a stand and said, not on our watch. So we must continue to honor God with that, to respect the wonderful blessings that this great God has given us as he provides for the USA. Respect for a nation that was established through the suffering of men and women and preserved our freedom. So how are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to take you to one of the most favorite scriptures for anyone doing a patriotic service. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land. This great country, it may be time that we humble ourselves. If we think that we are providing all of these blessings for the world, you are badly mistaken. It is God who is providing these blessings for the world through us. He has chosen to use us because of houses of worship, just like this one, throughout the land. Because throughout this land today, this morning, there are literally hundreds of thousands of people gathered in buildings, small and large, to praise God. Multiple denominations gathered together for one common cause, to praise God. Now, we may not agree with all their denominational structure, but they have gathered this morning to praise God. And God hears that praise. They've gathered together to pray and to seek Him. And now it's about us turning this nation once again to the way that He would have us to go. In the Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 through 10, he would say this: trust in the Lord with all your heart. So the very first word I want you to underline there on your screen, on your phone, trust. And lean not on your own understanding. I don't understand everything going on in our country. I'm going to deal with some more of that next week. I don't understand all of it, but I do know this, that I have to trust in God for me to move forward. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. Continue to seek Him. The second word to underline is fear. Fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones. Respect Him. Fear is to respect Him. Respect what He's had to say. Fear Him from the standpoint of that reverence. Verse 9 would say honor. That's the key word there. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. Honor Him. First of all, that has to start in the church. We honor Him with a portion of what He has blessed us with. And then we need, as a country, to honor God with how He has blessed us. And where does that go? That goes to starving people around the world. We don't hoard it here at home, but we feed the world. These two scriptures tell us a great deal about honoring God and respecting the gift that He has given us. So today, for this 4th of July, I want us to remember this is all loaned to us, folks. We don't own the privilege of being free. We don't own it. It's a blessing. It was loaned to us. And God said, my people. And if we are His people, the things that I've shared with you today shall happen. That's why it's so important that we not forget. God bless America. God bless America. Mighty.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we lift our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. One more time. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet